Hello and good morning, you. How are you feeling today? It is Friday. Wow. Friday, December the 28th, 2008. And I'm Allison Nail-Malone. And for those of you that don't know me or don't know me well, I am a women's executive leadership coach, as well as a mindfulness-based stress reduction mentor. And this is the 720 Mindfulness Message. And the purpose of the 720 Mindfulness Message is centered around just creating a few moments just for you to bring in just a little bit more mindfulness into your day. And it just takes a few minutes. It's not a big thing that you have to do or don't do, but bringing in a little bit more mindfulness and creating a moment that's just for you, which we often forget to do. And so over the course of the last month, we have been talking about different types of mindfulness techniques that you could bring into your life that literally takes, 3 to 5 minutes to do or less. And the techniques are things that are simple to do, may not be always easy to do, but they're simple enough to be able to do them. And oftentimes, nobody else has to know that you're doing them, even if you're in the room full of people. And so yesterday, I brought a conversation up about a mindfulness practice, or really a technique on either writing or just using your imagination on bringing in a good memory and bringing in those good feelings, particularly when it might be challenging to do so, or if you just want to feel even more, if you're in a great mood and you want to feel even more of that. So today is part 2 of that exercise, and it focuses more on the emotion. So I think before I dive into this, I'd love to just share with you a story, a life story of mine. And so first, I'm going to say I have for a very long time been a stress addict. And to be quite honest and transparent, I still kind of love the stress. And I have been working really hard. And now I'm trying to change even that verbiage of saying that I don't have to work hard anymore at it. But to really move from an old pattern way of thinking of stress and then shifting to something different. And writing actually is a great tool, even if you are not a writer per se. You could type it. You could have this conversation with someone if you're more of a verbal person. Or again, you can actually use these questions that I'll be asking here in a few moments and just using your imagination and your mind. What is great about these mindfulness writing exercises is that it starts to help shift your brain and create new neural pathways, which I've talked about that in some previous mindfulness messages previously, about how our brain starts to kind of work and how we've created these kind of like a roadmap that has been built over time. And when you do a certain thing over and over and over, it builds a new path or a highway in your brain. And it can be difficult sometimes to overcome that. And sometimes it takes rebuilding each day just 1%. You think about kind of like the construction, when you've been in a construction zone and you think, gosh, this is never going to end. And it's hard to see the progress on it. And yet one day, boop, it's a road that you can cross now. And it's very similar to how our brains work. And sometimes it can work really quickly, particularly when you can incorporate all the different senses when it comes to a mindfulness practice. And so with this practice, it's really going to focus on having you write down certain things, or at the very minimum, to get into your imagination and answer the questions. I'd highly encourage you, and I really invite you, if it is at all possible for you, to either write or type these answers down so that you can really focus on it, maybe even a little bit later. And so oftentimes when stress comes into our life, it is really hard to kind of break from that addiction sometimes, because oftentimes using that story of saying, I'm so stressed out, I'm complaining about how busy I am, it's really a way for us to connect with another person. But also it's something that, I don't know, it kind of gives us the belief system that life has to be a struggle and life has to be hard. And feeling stress is kind of the reward for that. And then when we complain about it or when we talk about it, it gives us a different kind of reward. So then that feeds more endorphins. And then we start to connect with other people who are feeling the same way. And then that creates more endorphins. So it is highly addictive because, one, we feel a connection with somebody, we feel validated and heard. And then just like that endorphin rush that comes from stress, that comes from talking about it, and then commiserating with someone, that's really addictive as well. And I want to say this is not true for every single case, but in a lot of cases, we talk about how busy we are, how stressful it is, how crappy our clients are, how, family's been so crazy, whatever it is, we get real moved into that story. And so oftentimes, like for me, my stress typically was centered around two things: work and family. And work really took a huge piece of my stress factor. And so not that long ago, probably within the last year and a half, I started this particular writing practice. Hi, good morning. Good morning, Ashley. I am having a hard time. For some reason, Facebook is not showing who is showing up or if there's any comments. So if you are on here live, let me know. Keep writing, keep loving, whatever it is. And those of you that are watching the replay, make sure that you make in the comments below and I'll go back and check it out afterwards. So this writing practice actually really first acknowledges how you're feeling in the moment, particularly when it comes to that stressful feeling. And it really kind of honors where you're at. It doesn't say that you have to ignore what you're feeling, because oftentimes when we ignore, it just kind of creates more, right? Or when we try to stuff it down, it comes back up, and sometimes it comes back even more than what we were feeling before. So this writing exercise I'm going to take you through really first acknowledges the emotions that you're feeling in the moment. And then you get to play a little bit in your imagination of what it could be like if you didn't feel that way. And then we kind of deep dive a little bit more into your imagination and problem solving and creativity of what could I do differently? And then how are you feeling in the moment again? So if it is available for you to write this down, or maybe come back to it later and write it down, but if it's not available to you to write it right now, then just use your imagination in this moment. So I'm going to invite you just to take a big deep breath in and out and really fill up the spaces in your lungs. Coffee is still kicking in. And whatever you're feeling right now, I just want you to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What is the emotion that I'm feeling right now? And give it a name. So, for example, right now I'm feeling tired. And then the emotion behind feeling tired is feeling a little drained, might be a little cranky. So what are you feeling right now? What is the emotion? What is the name of that emotion? And then the second question through the writing exercise is, if I were to change one thing about how I'm feeling right now, what would it be? If I could change it. If I could change it, what would it be? If I were to change something and if I could change it, what could it possibly be? Well, if I could change it, I'd love to feel a little more awake and a little more energized. And emotionally, I'd love to feel a little more happy or fulfilled, or whatever that feeling is or emotion is. And then the third question is, well, if I could do one thing, even if it's just a baby step, to feel more what I'd love to feel versus what I don't want to feel, what could I do if I could do it? So for me, a baby step right now would be, as soon as I finish this 7:20 live, I'm gonna go just take a little break and do something that I really love. So what is that for you? And I'm gonna really focus on, the thing that I could possibly do, if I could do it, to change how I'm feeling in this moment. I'm just gonna focus on, if I could do that, then how would I really feel? What would the emotion be if I just did that little baby step to kind of shift feeling tired and a little cranky? And if I could feel, I'd love to feel a little more energized, a little more focused. And after my 7:20 mindfulness message today, I am actually just going to go outside and take a look at the sunrise. And just doing that step will actually, I know, will make me feel, or I'll have a little bit more space to feel a little bit more energized and a little bit more focused. And then the last question is, how do I feel right now? Well, I still feel a little tired. I know I already feel a little less cranky because now I know after this is done, I'm going to go see the sunrise. So this mindfulness technique is something that is very simple, that gives you just a few moments, and that was literally 3 minutes of just getting quiet for a moment and being really mindful about how you're feeling in this moment. It's acknowledging how you feel in this moment. And then it also gives you a little bit more freedom to really give yourself permission. If I could do something different, even if it's a baby step, it opens up the creative neural pathways in your brain and allows you to think about, like, okay, if I could just do one thing, then maybe that will help. And it'll help serve how I feel and how I want to feel. And then you start really starting to get into that emotion, like and how you want to feel, because your brain's going, oh, she's getting ready to do this, or he's getting ready to do that, and you really want, he or she or they want to really feel something different. So I'm going to start making path. Your brain wants to really serve you, and it can't think cranky and happiness, feeling that at the same time. So when I start focusing on feeling energized and focused, my brain wants to go, okay, I'm going to do that. And so then it starts moving in that direction. Now, for some people, it may only happen like this much, but this much is so much more than what you were feeling before, right? And for some people, it'll be like, oh man, that was awesome. So everybody's path is a little bit different with it, but those 1%, those baby steps, or that 1% movement helps create momentum for a new highway in your brain, and also just starts to move a little bit forward into the feeling or emotion that you would love to feel more of. So I hope today's mindfulness message this morning was helpful, and it was a good tool and resource for you. I'd love to know, for those of you who have tried any of these resources or tools and techniques on the 7:20 mindfulness message for this month. So I am going to be taking a break until January 1. So that's just like 3 or 4 days. I'm going to sleep in. So that's 1% movement I'm making. And starting January 1, I'll actually be doing these a little bit earlier, and I'll be making some announcements on Facebook, so you can start planning for that as well. And if you have a topic or a question around your career, around mindfulness, around just coaching in general, or any kind of topic when it comes to the things that I love talking about, I'd love to know what you would like to hear more of, and have more conversation around. The comments and the private messages and the text messages that you all have sent since I've started doing the 7:20 mindfulness message, which I believe I started doing them in September or October. I can't quite remember. But it has been so much fun doing this. And there's days where I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to push the button and see what happens. And your support, your comments, both the constructive and the positive feedback has been amazing. And I'm really here for service to you, and it serves me as well. So until 2019, I hope that the next couple of days that you are spending time with the people that you love and that love you right back. And I hope today is incredible. And in the next couple of days, really just choose one word for 2019 and post it in the comments below or the previous post where I've asked for you to write just one word that you could focus and align to, instead of making a full list of goals. Like that's so 2017. Write one word, and what would that be for your focus and alignment? Have an amazing day, and I'll chat with you soon.